Hey yo, football fans, it's another great year. Fantasy football fiends, grab your beer. Giving you the best draft tips for your picks. Starts and sits to the waiver wire fix. From mock drafts galore to stats that's hardcore. Triple F does it all, have y'all screaming more. So sit back, relax, let the experts prevail. JT Magnum, Siggy Guns never fail. What's up, fantasy football fans and Magnum Sport Network fans? My name is JT Magnum. Welcome to 2015's first episode of Fantasy Football Fiends. And this is the rookies, the top 20 rookies. And I'm going to count them back from 20 all the way to 1. But first, I want to talk about a couple things new to Fantasy Football Fiends and new to Magnum Sports Network. Underneath me here, you see MagnumSportsNetwork.com. Feel free to go to that website, bookmark it, subscribe to it, do whatever you'd like. Those basically will show all my sports shows. We're going to have NBA, NFL blogs on there. We're going to do some fantasy football updates on there. So if you want to see up-to-date rankings and things like that for fantasy football this year, if you want to see last-minute changes, feel free to click on that website and go, to there, and that way you can see all the injuries, all the updates, things that I might tell you that might happen on the fly. I might post articles right away. Things like that. So feel free to go to MagnumSportsNetwork.com. It is new. It is under construction. So when you go there, you're going to see some test posts. Don't worry about that. Just basically subscribe to it. It will be up and running before the fantasy football season starts this year. On the bottom there, you'll notice that I have a new Twitter handle. It's at JTMagnum816. Optimus Magnum was my old Twitter handle. The reason why I'm switching this year is because I want to keep everything. Optimus Magnum was my gaming name. I want to keep that separated from my sports related stuff. So I'm trying to, separate everything out because everybody gets a little confused when I'm tweeting about games, tweeting about gaming stuff, and then all of a sudden tweeting about sports, and they're like, what are you doing? So at JT Magnum at JT Magnum 816 is my new Twitter handle for sports related topics and sports related tweets. Feel free to follow that. All right. Underneath also you see the ticker. That will have all fantasy football updates and things like that on future videos to come. If you're new to the channel, that's what I do. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you like my content, or if you're new and you want to see everything I do for fantasy football. The first 2 years have been very successful. I've gotten some people some championships. I've won a couple championships during that time. It's been great. And I just, want to keep it rolling, basically. I'm not always completely 100% correct. I mean, nobody is 100% correct in fantasy football. That's what makes this so much fun, is that it's all about predicting. It's all about doing the research. It's all about taking your time and, figuring out matchups, figuring out who plays well against who, and just trying to give your insight on it. And here at Fantasy Football Fiends, we like to talk about the other guys. We don't talk about the Peyton Mannings, the Tom Bradys, the Aaron Rodgers. I mean, we talk about them every now and then, but I mean, we don't always suggest them, We're not afraid to sit them either. We're the type of guys that we're not afraid to say, Aaron Rodgers is playing the Seahawks this week. You might not want to play him, things like that. So that's what we do here. That's the kind of role we've taken, and we try to make it short and sweet and do these episodes, as quick and thorough as we can. We don't pronounce every name correctly. Sometimes we get it wrong, but you know what? We're here. You're here to tell us. You're here to give us our bloopers. Let us know what's going on. And yeah, let's get this rolling. I want to get this started because I don't want to waste too much of your time. But the top 20 rookies, we're going to start from 20 down. Number 20, Jeff Heuerman. I hope I didn't pronounce that. I hope I not pronounced that right, but he's from Ohio State. He's on the Broncos. Number 19, David Cobb out of Minnesota. He's on the Tennessee Titans. Amir Abdullah from Nebraska on the Detroit Lions. Jalen Strong from ASU, or Arizona State, is on the Texans. And Jamison Crowder from Duke. He's on the Washington Redskins. And I am going to talk about Jeff Heuerman. He is a guy that could benefit from the fact that they have Owen Daniels on the Broncos, and he's probably going to start. Owen Daniels is probably going to start. He's a great tight end, and Peyton Manning's going to use him a lot this year, but that's a topic for another conversation. But Jeff Heuerman's a nice, tall, athletic tight end, and that's what Peyton Manning loves. So I just think that he's going to have a good year and benefit from the fact that Manning loves to use tight ends. He loves those double tight end sets, and I can just see Heuerman and Owen Daniels out there. And Heuerman's a fast, very fast, athletic tight end, very highly underrated prospect. Can play, can catch over the middle, not afraid to catch over the middle. And he's athletic enough to run away from the DBs, especially from safeties and linebackers. So I really like Jeff Heuerman a lot this year. He's a guy to look for, especially if Owen Daniels gets hurt, especially with Owen Daniels' history of getting hurt. So let's go with number 15, Devin Funchess from Michigan. He's on the Carolina Panthers. I hope I say this right. Jay Ajayi from Boise State. He's on the Miami Dolphins. Kevin White from West Virginia. He's on the Chicago Bears. Number 12, TJ Yeldon from Bama or Alabama. He's on Jacksonville Jaguars. And number 11, Max Williams from Minnesota on the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm going to talk about Jay Ajayi. Now this is a guy who's pretty much built like Marshawn Lynch. I'm not going to compare him in the fact that, he's going to be good like Marshawn Lynch, because you never know. But the player he's most comparable to is Marshawn Lynch. He's a bruising tailback. Just a bruising running back. He has pretty good speed. I'm not sure if he's Marshawn Lynch speed, because Marshawn Lynch is actually surprisingly fast, but he's definitely got some speed, and he's always looking for contact. And with Lamar Miller's been the type of back that he did well last year. He averaged 5.1 yards per carry, but he didn't get a lot of carries. He's not a back that you're going to give the ball to, just a ton of carries a game. He's one of those backs that you can only use the most, some of the time. He's had some injury problems here and there, and he didn't get a lot of carries for the Dolphins last year. And they're looking for a guy that can just, feed that ball to, somebody to help Ryan Tannehill out in the passing game, hopefully to block. And I've heard from camp that Jay Ajayi needs some work in that blocking game. If he wants to play, he needs some work in that blocking game. So if he can shore up that blocking, the pass protection for Tannehill, you can see him get a lot more carries. You can see him do a lot of work there. And I think he's going to be a good back to come. He might get a lot of touchdowns, especially goal line carries this year. So moving on, we got at number 10, Todd Gurley from Georgia on the St. Louis Rams. We got Marcus Mariota from Oregon on the Titans at number 9. Brashad Perryman from Central Florida on the Ravens. And Jameis Winston from Florida State, of course, on the Bucks. And Tevin Coleman from Indiana, and he's on the Atlanta Falcons. And I'm going to talk about Brashad Perryman. This is a guy that he is just nothing but speed. Ran a 4.25 on his combine. And the Ravens lost Torrey Smith to the 49ers. And that was their speed guy. That was their main guy. They also lost Jacoby Jones. Well, he was on another team last year, but they lost him in the past to free agency as well. And they haven't had that speed guy, opposite now Torrey Smith, especially with Torrey Smith now being gone. So Brashad Perriman insert right into that role. He's not just fast. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, likes contact. Kind of in the mold of, I would say, like a Terrell Owens kind of mold, but just faster. And this guy can just fly. He's a little bit raw. He doesn't run, all the routes, just perfect or anything like that. He hasn't played much receiver, but with Flacco's arm, the way Flacco throws him deep ball and everything, this guy can fly. He can take the pressure off, any defense, or take the pressure off the offense, getting those 8-man fronts, trying to run the ball with Justin Forsett and things like that. And he's a guy that I think is going to flash. I think he's going to have a good year this year. It's hard to cover a guy that fast and that strong, especially with, quarterback. There's not many quarterbacks in the league that can handle that. So we'll see what happens with him, but I really, really like Brashad Perriman's upside a lot this year, especially given the fact that he's almost basically thrusted right into the starter role. So we'll see what happens with him. But moving on, the last top 5, we got Dorial Green-Beckham from Oklahoma. Well, he didn't even play for Oklahoma really, but he's from Oklahoma. He played, the last time he played was at Missouri. But anyways, he's on the Tennessee Titans. We got Nelson Aguilar from USC on the Philadelphia Eagles. And Duke Johnson on number 3 from Miami, the U, and he's on the Cleveland Browns. Amari Cooper at number 2. I know this is shocking, but he's at number 2 from Alabama. He's on the Raiders. And number 1, my number 1 fantasy football rookie this year is Melvin Gordon from Wisconsin, and he's on the San Diego Chargers. He will be starting. This guy is an animal. He's a beast. The guy can catch out of the backfield. He's strong, big, physical, fast, can cut. The guy is just an amazing running back product. Todd Gurley would be a little higher if he didn't have some injury concerns, but Melvin Gordon is the real deal, and you're going to see him get rushed for a lot of yards this year on the Chargers, and he's going to get a lot of touchdowns. But I want to talk about Amari Cooper. He was the #1 pick for the Raiders this year. He out of Alabama. He had 124 catches at Alabama last year. 124. I know it's a lot, and I know it seems like everything's overrated because it's college, but you got to remember, he was playing with Blake Sims at quarterback. Blake Sims. And, now he's with Derek Carr and the Raiders. This is a guy that is like the Julio Jones mold, just uncoverable. You can't cover somebody who's this big, this physical, and this fast. He's going to have a breakout year. He's got Michael Crabtree on the outside who's capable enough of, taking some heat off of him a little bit. And they have they have a good running game over there with Latavius Murray. I don't know how well they're going to do, but I know Derek Carr throws a nice, accurate short ball. I know he can throw a pretty accurate deep ball. And I think Amari Cooper is just one of those guys that can beat you inside, outside, underneath, over route. He could play well in the screen game. He's just a guy that can pretty much do it all for you. And I really love his chances this year being this year's Odell Beckham Jr. Just a guy that's just a big talent that can play. Hopefully he stays healthy, and we'll see what he can do. But that's it, guys. Let me know what you think of my top rookies. Oh, just to mention a couple guys, I do have an honorable mention. We're going to go Philip Dorsett out of Miami on the Colts for honorable mention, and we're going to go DeAndrew White, the guy who played opposite of Amari Cooper at Bama. He's on the 49ers, and I've heard nothing but great things about DeAndrew White, how good he is, and how great he's going to be. He actually might win that job, he might win the third or fourth starting spot on the 49ers. So we'll see what happens, but those are my honorable mention guys. Those are guys that might come out, out of the gate strong for fantasy football. And Philip Dorsett, that Colts team is loaded with wide receivers, so we'll see how he does. But he's a nice, speedy complement, especially when they have T.Y. Hilton, Dante Moncrief, Andre Johnson. This is a loaded team at wide receiver, so we'll see what happens. But let me know in the comment section what you think about my starting lineup for my top 20 rookies. Let me know who you think will do well this year. Put them in the comment section if there's somebody I didn't mention that you really like. There's a lot of promising talent this year. It's going to be one of those rookie classes again. I think that's going to do really well, especially at wide receiver. But I really think this year's running back class is going to shine, like really, really shine, especially like Duke Johnson, Melvin Gordon. I really like Tevin Coleman a lot. So we'll see what happens. But let me know in the comment section what you think. The next episode will be my top sleepers. And stay tuned, all right? JT Magnum, Fantasy Football Fiends. I'm out. Peace, y'all.